I'm going to let Leo explain how he does it. Welcome on stage, Leo, everybody.
Yeah, that one's in one piece. Yeah, thank you for listening to this. I'm very excited to tell you about Bitdevs. How many of you have attended a Bitdevs before? And how many of you have hosted a Bitdevs before? Great. Yes. I'm going to very quickly talk about what Bitdevs is and why we do it, and then I mainly want to take the fear away from you hosting one yourself, because it doesn't take much, and even though we look up to the big Bitdevs of New York City or Austin, those are not the standard, and most Bitdevs are run on a much more lean and much more easier organization. The idea of when we talk about Bitdevs, we not necessarily mean Bitcoin developers. We more emphasize the Socratic Seminar. The Socratic Seminar is kind of the defining style of a Bitdevs. Of course, you could also have a technical talk, and I could stand here for an hour and talk about multi-signature arrangements and cross-signature aggregation, and then we could call that a Bitdevs. But when I talk about Bitdevs, or when we see people referencing the popular Bitdevs, we're talking about the Socratic Seminar. And the Socratic Seminar is thousands of years old. It's not even clear whether Socrates really invented it or whether he just applied it. But it comes out of an old school of thinking in philosophy where we can find out the truth simply by talking about it. And just by exploring it verbally, by exploring all dimensions of an issue, of a problem, we can find out the truth about this issue. And of course, today, we don't really consider that like the ultimate source of truth anymore. We have ideas like the scientific method, or we use experiments and we try them out. But the Socratic Seminar still has a place in finding out the truth, and it has been a very effective tool of education, not just for the people who attend it, but also for the people who host it. It will open your eyes to controversies, it will open your eyes to history, it will open your eyes to how Bitcoin really works at its core. And I think for that reason alone, it is very much worth hosting your own Bitdev seminar, even if you can only find 2 or 3 other people to join you. So what I want to emphasize as kind of the most important parts of the Bitdevs are not so much that you're able to do it very frequently, or not so much that you're able to do it at a grand scale, or that you're able to attract like globally popular Bitcoin developer, but more that you do it consistently, and that you do it, and that you do it, that you host your own Bitdevs. So what do we need if we want to host our own Bitdevs? Most importantly, we need some kind of space to do it. Virtual Bitdevs have existed, people have tried them out, especially 2020, 2021, but nothing really beats the magic of talking in person. Nothing really allows you, like there's privacy aspects to it, but there's also simply the ability to have a fluid conversation amongst people in a room. It's very different from what we're able to do online. Lag and not being able to hear each other. So I think you need a physical space. I'm a big believer in physical Bitdevs. But that physical space, depending on the size of your event, doesn't have to be like a formal seminar room like. So I would encourage you to maybe first look for small accessible spaces that provide some kind of seclusion. And in Canada, public libraries are a great resource. Go to your public library, inquire about reading rooms, inquire about what it takes to book them. Most of the time, a public library in Canada think also those conversations can be actually really great. My nightmare is having to host a Bitdevs of 100 people. I don't think that I can do that. So somewhere in between there lies a sweet spot, but it might actually be below what we have in Vancouver now. So we have a space, we have the people. The next thing is we need the topic. So this is now where this website finally comes in. I don't think you really need a website for your Bitdevs. You don't have to go through the trouble of buying a domain name and registering a website. You can just host it on a spreadsheet. You can host it on a Google Drive document. You can share it ahead of time. You don't necessarily have to, but you do need some topics. And the great thing about topics is that is a big portion of the work of hosting Bitdevs is taking the topics, but you can take the ultimate shortcut of just taking them from others. So these are our topics. These are the topics, for example, from our July event, which was really, really great, which we hosted here at Funk. Long list here. You can just take these. You can just take the links and read them for yourself or skim through them and decide whether you want to talk about this or not, and then include it in your own list. This is not only entirely acceptable behavior, but this is expected behavior. We are just taking these lists from conversations other people are having about Bitcoin, and we're taking these links specifically because these other people are talking about them, because we want to emphasize the technical discussions that people are having as they're happening. There are other Bitdevs. If you go here to the cities, you can find like a somewhat organized list of regular Bitdevs that are happening. So there's one in Victoria. Most of them are in the United States, but you can go to any of them and you can just steal their lists. So probably the most longest running is New York City. And that one here, it's at edition 150. So if we go to 149, their list is very, very long. I can guarantee you they do not talk about all of these topics in one event, but they have made the goal to just collect as much as they can. So narrow it down from there, pick whatever you find either enticing or what do you think other people might want to talk about, or just stuff that you know a lot about, right? Maybe you just really want to share about, what would be a good example? Stealth addresses using Nostr. That involves talking about Nostr, involves talking about stealth addresses. It can be a very accessible topic depending on how you present it. And it's a topic that definitely people are going to have a lot of questions about. So now once you have the space and the people and the list, I will be very happy if you even just go to bitdevs.ca and take whatever the last Vancouver list was. You don't even have to like curate your own. That's even going that far is entirely up to you. Now you need an MC. And the MC's role, the MC doesn't have to be somebody who really understands all these topics. It doesn't have to be somebody who is like, maybe it shouldn't even be the person who is the most knowledgeable in the room. The MC is mainly tasked with finding out, like deciding for themselves which topics to now talk about. Imagine being an MC at the New York City Bitdevs. You're going to have to narrow this down. You can't talk about everything, so you're going to have to maybe find a theme. Sometimes 3 or 4 links belong together. Sometimes you just pick one, and you're going to have to open the floor to questions, meaning you find whoever might have a question about this, or whoever might have a quick summary or something to add, or at the minimum, it's just somebody who read the article, to call on them to give their opinion or to give their summary. And so then the MC's role, as I see it, is more a role of somebody who keeps time, somebody who makes sure that a broad range of topics are being talked about. No topic should be talked about for too long. No speaker should be speaking for too long. Nobody should be really dominating the floor. Other people should be able to get a voice too if they so want. And also keep the Bitdevs on time. It can sometimes be tempting to, especially if you have the room available, to just keep going for hours and hours. But yeah, other people might have to go, and they might kind of get like a bit, jittery if because they're who knows, their parking is running out or somebody awaits them at dinner. So do start on time, do finish on time. Don't let any topic dominate the afternoon, or don't let any speaker dominate the topic. And that is your Bitdevs. We did host a Halifax Bitdev recently. So if you want to host a Montreal Bitdev sometime, my French will be very limited. But if we want to do an English-speaking Montreal Bitdevs, I will totally go to Montreal. I will just go there for like smoked meat. I don't even need a Bitdevs as an excuse. So if you're somewhere in Canada and you need help to run a Bitdevs, I will very happily answer all your questions. Maybe I can help you, publicize things, select topics, answer all your questions you might have regarding scheduling or venue. And if I do have the time, maybe I'll come over and MC one. I think we're doing one in Calgary in early November. Maybe we'll do one in Comox early next year. We'll see. Do you have any questions about Bitdevs, hosting a Bitdevs? There's a contact somewhere, I think in the About section. Well, this is a very long list. This is not a contact. Somewhere there are going to be. There's going to be lots of ways to find us. I think some of these links need to be. Oh yeah, I was in a Bitdevs New York City. That's why everything looks so unfamiliar. What does it look like in? We also don't have a contact, but you'll find me. Well, lots of easy ways. Yes, Pablo.
Are you planning on going to the Canadian Bitcoin Conference in Montreal in October?
I don't think so. I fear I might not make it. Yeah. But we can talk. I think I looked at the schedule and it doesn't work out somehow. But let's look at that again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are all the different Bitdev websites all open source? Like I noticed you went to the.
Yeah. We all just clone each other's code. That works. That's by far the fastest. Yeah.
The question is, in your Bitdev meetups, do you get some students coming to the session?
Occasionally, but it tends to be more the core of the Bitcoin community in Vancouver. So the people who attend Bitdevs would also attend the other events. There isn't a specific Bitdevs crowd. It's not that there's a complete different audience that we're able to reach. It would be great to have more.
In the group, do you have like someone who's already working in Bitcoin and working as a Bitcoin developer?
Yes, and of course it's always helps to have these people attend Bitdevs and contribute or even give presentations. We deviate a little bit from the default template in that we often have speakers that talk about a topic by themselves for 15 minutes. Not all Bitdevs do that. Other Bitdevs, they focus more on demo sessions. So people from the community would, in the beginning, come up and say, here's something I worked on, look at the code, this is what it does, this is the problem it's solving. Also something we do that's like somewhat unique is having rotating MCs, especially in Austin and New York City. There are multiple MCs, and these MCs are not just the moderators of the discussion, but they are really the presenters. They explain these topics before they open the floor to discussions. They kind of try to, for every topic, they have a 3-minute summary, and then there's a 5-minute discussion. Yeah. Great. So the second thing I'm talking about, how much time do we have? I think I promised. Yeah, I did promise to give a bit of time back.
We'd take it if you're giving it back, but if you have something else you want to kind of touch on, or like as a side conversation as well, what was the subject?
The Node Academy. So that's part of Bitdevs. Okay. We had I'm just going to show it off. I'm just going to very briefly mention it. The question we had at Bitdevs was, how easy is it really to run your own node fully from scratch? You set up your own, and you don't use Umbrel, you don't use Start9, you don't go to Voltage, you don't use BTC Pay. You really just run everything yourself. And we made the experiment of simply figuring out, what if we write step-by-step guides for a very specific setup that either works in the cloud or works on your laptop. And this is something that if you want to really bind people to your Bitdevs, say for the next 6 months, going through these chapters can be really fun in a group. So meaning you have 5 people attending your Bitdevs, and all 5 people are then expected to, in the first week, go through the introduction. And in the second week, set up a computer. And the third week, learn about the command line. And so you kind of you turn setting up a Bitcoin node into very digestible steps that each of them takes less than 20 minutes to run if you have experience. Maybe it takes an hour if you don't have experience, and maybe it takes 2 hours if you run into a problem. But then these 2 hours per week turn into not just a full Lightning node and a full Bitcoin node running with channels after 5 weeks, but they turn into this like learning experience. In each step, there are things to discuss. Why are we setting up the Bitcoin node? Why are we configuring it like that? How do these configurations work? What's actually happening in the background when we're pruning a block? Why do we need this information for our Lightning node? And so it's a great step-by-step learning experience that can also help kind of get a group of people together for a longer time. Yeah, again, there's help available. Where does this lead? This leads to a Google form. It has these resources, BTC sessions, of course. And in the end, people are going to run their own nodes from source in true cypherpunk fashion, even if they thought they could never do it. And most of the nodes that we set up, this was 1.5 years ago, they're still running, people are still using them. And it turned out to be actually quite a easy answer to our question, how easy is it to run your own node from scratch? And now you get your microphone back and your time. And I encourage you all to reach out to me if you want to run a Node Academy locally or a Bitdevs.
Thanks very much, Leo. Really cool, really cool.